Welcome in, everyone. Tonight we're going to be recapping a meta trade idea from Discord, and we're going to also go over a flow alert that came in as well. Not going to dig super deep into the flow alert. I'm just going to kind of show what stuck out on the flow alert, but we're going to dive into the unusual whales flow for meta, which kind of helped me come up with a trade idea. So let's go over the idea. We're going to go over the flow and then kind of go over the trade and the two contracts. So again, this was a Discord trade. So for those in Discord, obviously we did good on this. So let's start out here. So obviously, for those not in Discord, this will give you a good view of everything. But as always, I always like to put out a nightly. I put out the nightly watch list with a level just to kind of let people do a little charting, just to kind of get an idea of what could be going on, where the entry could be. And I always do the flow breakdown. So this one's a little easier of a flow breakdown. I'll get into detail usually if there's a lot more flow, but this flow actually really stuck out. So, and I'll always put in the filter. So this is a filter I use in the flow feed. So this is 35,000 to 30 days expiration. So obviously you can see very bullish flow at close. There's a whale on the, and I'll zoom in here in a second. So whale on the 328, 495 calls. Two more whales on the 328, 497 and a half call, and the 322 expiration, and a large flow alert for over 1 million here. So looking at the flow, so obviously you can see that 495 call here 10 days out, and it was pretty much, that's not too deep in the money where it's going to concern me. So this was a close yesterday on 318. So obviously you can see, I mean, not super deep in the money. Meta can move a good amount in a day. So that's the first one that stuck out there. So then you had 497 calls here. Can 100% for sure say if it's the same whale, just because timing's off and expiration's off. But kind of looking at the premium and just the strike and stuff, it sticks out to me coming in really close together. And then we had the big giant flow alert on the calls here, and again, not deep in the money where it's going to concern me. 10 days out. Looking at the premium here, really good premium. Can see size was up there as well. The volume was up there as well, bigger than the open interest. So it sticks out to me there. So, and that was over, I mean, 1 million there. So now touching on the update in the morning. So, and I know I do get questions where people are asking, well, what do you do? Are you kind of talking about the trades in the morning, etc.? So again, this is a good example for those who are interested in possibly joining. So again, here's our updated entry today. So again, no editing, none of that stuff. So I always will put notes in here as well, just if there's a little notes. So we had the 502 and a half, 505 call less than 483.84. So looking at that, we'll kind of go over the trade here as well. And right before, and obviously weekly contracts minus 10% stops. Whoever, a lot of people who have been trading with me for a long time know that's my day trade protocol. And I do like to, might have to adjust the strikes. Obviously, I like between that 0.70 per contract and $1 contract. So, and you can see right before we triggered here, obviously put a note out. So let's look at the trade idea now. So again, 483.84 was the entry. 483.84 there. Again, no editing. So first entry here, we'll go over the trade, then I'll go over the contracts as well. So first entry, we and again, I'm Central Time for those that don't know, came down to 840, and then we kind of bounced up there and triggered. So this first entry was actually a stop out. So this is a great example of why you like to take smaller losses as well too. So, and I know this 10% seems like a really quick stop out, but very easy to recover from. So, and when we did trigger here and stop, the contracts did kind of, I'll show everybody on the contracts as well too. They were screened for a while, and you're going to wonder why. This is a good example of IV, implied volatility. Everybody is thinking puts as we come down. we stop and chop for a little bit, the implied volatility on those contracts drops. So calls start to kind of come up a little bit, and people start grabbing calls, maybe thinking we're going to go up. You see the contract prices bump a little bit. So, and coming back here, so again, I always make notes. So stopped out on the first entry. Not scared to say that. Nobody's going to be perfect trading. This was the main one. We'll take this with a rebreak above 483.82 and 483.82, or well, would have meant 483.84, but 2 cents, you get the idea. So here's our breakup, and obviously you can see we that idea was pretty dead on for the day. So making from the entry, we made a 2.60% move up to the top to the end of the day. So you're not going to exit at the peak. That's very rare, and especially on these little pullbacks in here, you're probably going to have stops hit and size out. So let's look at the contracts now. So again, we adjusted the contracts to the 507.5, 510 call. So moving over here, and again, trigger time or re-trigger would be 8:48. So let's pull up the weeklies here. So the 507.5 call. So and I'm going to show everybody the stop out as well too. So here's that stop out. Actually, let me go back. Sorry. So the first entry would have been at 8:40. So let's look at the 507 and 507.5 at 8:40. So here is your 8:40. So, and again, depending on your fill, I think I got a bad fill on this one because I got filled up at 110 a little bit. Could have got a little better fill here at about 107, and it was barely over 10%, but that was the first stop out there. So quick stop out happens. Be smart about it. So here is that second entry. So we took this on a momentum breakup, and that was at 8:48, I believe. Just get this so everybody can see the proper trigger and everything. So 8:48. So back to the 507.5. Again, 507.5. So 8:48 here. So you would have gotten about 107. Could have gotten a little earlier, but we're going to go with the bottom at 107 here. And more than likely you're going to be taking some profits in here. So this did run up to 130 here in this quick little spot. More than likely you're adjusting stops up in here, getting out about 120, 119-ish. So if you held up to 131 there, great. That's about 20%, 22%. But you can see the contract the rest of the day here. And obviously, this is why I say you're not going to exit at the top. You would be holding back through these pullbacks. If your entry is 107 and you're letting it drop down to 93 again, that's not a good trade. You're letting the the green trades go red, which is something I really preach on. Don't let that happen. So, but you can obviously see if you have runners and all that, I mean, that's a little different if you're trading with higher amount of contracts. This is when you can kind of let stuff run a little bit more too. So, but you can see that original entry would have been 107. We peaked at 239, which would have been 123%. Not going to exit there. No big deal. I just like to show the full range of the trade. So now let's look at the 510 contracts. So again, first entry here was 844 or 42. Go back one more time. So you can see I don't script anything. It's just here as, well, that's all 840. 840 and then 848. So 840 here. So entry 80, came down to 73.07 cents. That's very, very close. If you got a favorable fill, you wouldn't have got stopped out. So, but if you get stopped out, no big deal because we made it right back. So again, here's that entry on the 848 here as well. So you would have got filled at that 80, 81-ish, came back up, probably going to size out about 96. So, I mean, that's 20%, which for those newer to trading my ideas, I like that 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. So 20%, I'm going to start taking profits. And again, if not, you come back down here to a little bit above break even, come back up to 99, get a little more than 20%, but then obviously letting it come down here, not a good idea. But then obviously you can see we peaked at 186, 188-ish. So again, that'd be 132% on the full range of the return, which again, not expected to hold until this. So that's kind of the breakdown on the meta trade. Again, I'll just show everybody the full trade, and this is why. I mean, this is a very easy, smooth trade to size out of, especially if you're trading with larger amounts of contracts. So really nice trade idea for us. You have a small stop out. It happens. Again, nobody's going to be perfect in this, and anybody that says they are, you're in for a surprise. But that is the meta recap. So I want to show everybody else. So again, for those in here, we have the flow alerts section. So today we had TSM at 9:19 a.m. Pulling this up, obviously, you can see this was clean flow, and clean flow alert. Pop this guy in here. You can see it was mostly on the ask side. Really big premium, and what sticks out to me, the really close days to expiration. Really, really close. So this whale's anticipating a quicker move. So let's look at that. So this came in at 9:19 a.m. So that's when I alerted that for everybody. And again, with these alerts, that they're coming in as I'm posting them. So I'm like I tell everybody, try to do a little due diligence on your own. These are alerts. I don't have time to chart them out as quick, but I like to put out alerts. The ones I put out are actually pretty solid, I'd say. So again, so that came in at 9:19. So this came in right around here. Put that right here. So right here, very close to the bottom of the day, and kind of choppy down here for a little bit. Came up and just took off again to the moon there. So these contracts actually ran. This was the 134. So 215 to, let me zoom in here. And again, I'm not going to dive into too deep into this just because it's a flow alert. So 215 about in here up to, let me come in here. So 919-ish. So 209, 215. These ended up hitting 349 today. So again, for those that like to take the flow alerts, and I know we had a member today do it. Gordo obviously always loves the flow alerts. So but yeah, so that TSM today, obviously meta was a great idea. Otherwise, that's kind of all I got for tonight. Just a quick recap video, and for those that are interested in joining, I'll drop the Discord link below, and I will also drop, if you're interested in using Unusual Whales as well, the referral code down there as well to save you some money. Otherwise, that's all I got for tonight. Have a great night, everyone.